Nothing has been more apt here in the mid-season brawl than Genji telling us to pick a side, as we have North America going up against Korea now in the lower bracket, as we have Roll20 going up against MVP Black. This will be a rematch of their group stage match that didn't quite go as MVP Black was expecting in the very early stages of that. Welcome back to the analysis desk, as I am joined by Tetra, J-How, and Dreadnought for what is sure to be another good series here for Heroes of the Storm, and one team will be eliminated once again. So, Roll20, MVP Black. Roll20 did surprise them in the group stage, but since then, nobody has let Roll20 do what they want.
Nope, everyone has seen the Medivh Diablo composition and no one wants anything to do with that. So we've seen a lot of target bans against them, but there is huge expectations on them because now they've not only took that game off Korea, they've also beat out the other NA team. They are the last bastage of American hope.
I was talking yesterday to some of the European players about Roll20 and their approach kind of to that. And it seems like how they put it in their words was, Roll20 is essentially like a Medivh cult until you ban Medivh, and then they're just a North American team.
I remember that conversation.
That already, I think, sets the foreground of what we can expect here in this for MVP Black, because they shared the same story in their first series. It was all about Medivh. It was a big problem for them to deal with. They focus on it, and it's MVP comes out on top.
But can we talk about the fact that MVP Black suffered a defeat yesterday in not just a close defeat, but in smashing fashion by Dignitas?
Yes, they did. So that's got to wear on them a little bit here as they go up against Roll20. Roll20 was victorious in their America versus America battle, and they did come out and prevail there against Tempo Storm. So that's the story so far for the playoffs for Roll20. And to be fair, I feel that Roll20 definitely deserved that victory. They went up against Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm really didn't innovate too much there. Roll20 deserved that one.
I completely agree. I mean, I said it in the group phase. I felt Roll20 was the strongest representative for North America, and I am happy to see that they have made it farther just purely based off their play. Again, I don't think any team is entitled to it, but overall, when I try to gauge the power levels, I like seeing, them match up to where I feel like we gauge them.
Well, of course, our first team making their way to the stage now is a previous world champion. Let's hear from Meriday and see what he has to say moving through the playoffs.
그냥 경기 시작 전에 나만 죽지 말자, 나만 안 죽으면은 내가 다른 사람은 살릴 수 있으니까 그냥 죽지만 말자, 이런 생각을 가장 많이 하는데, 그렇게 생각을 하면서 게임을 하면서도 내가 좀 앞에 있나 그런 생각을 하면은 이제 점점 캐릭터가 포지셔닝 자체가 점점 뒤로 가니까 그게 안정감이 생겨갖고 좀 남이 봤을 때 되게 침착하다 이런 느낌을 받는 것 같아요. L5는 정하 선수인 것 같고 이스타에서는 싱시 선수인 것 같아요. 일단 싱시 선수는 좀 약간 사냥개 이런 느낌으로 좀 모든 아군과 적군 전부 다 자기 자신을 바라보게 만드는 그런 플레이를 하는 거에 좀 능하고, 정하 선수는 좀 노블레스 선수를 먼저 던져놓고 그 뒤에 모든 스킬을 보고서는 후진입하는 그런 플레이가 많이 까다롭더라고요. 그래서 그 두 선수가 가장 많이 경계돼요. 아무래도 궁극기를 좀 되게 허무하게 사용했을 때 그런 모습 보면은 이제 시간이 위에 있잖아요. 그 위에 타이머 시간 가잖아요. 게임 시간. 그 시간이랑 이제 궁극기 쿨이랑 보고서는 다음 궁극기가 언제 돌아오니까 언제까지 계속 한타를 걸자 이런 식으로 좀 얘기하는 그런 게 편하죠. 제가 다른 캐릭터를 하는 것보다는 지원가 캐릭터를 하는 게 그나마 낫다고 생각했는지 그래서 아마 지원가를 할 때 가장 좋아하는 것 같아요.
It makes me want to see Meriday actually play a tank or an assassin or something like that and see how bad it would be. But of course, he's a phenomenal and stellar support here for MVP Black, as I said, a previous world champion. At the moment, on the ropes in the lower bracket, there's Meriday singing away and bopping his head and doing what he does. And again, important to know, this will be his last LAN tournament under the guise here of MVP Black.
Yeah, it's sad to say, but also, you know, it's by choice. You know, it's no external pressure or anything. It's just voluntary here for Mary Day. But as a dude who, when I was playing support, I legitimately used him as like a staple of how do I improve, and even got bodied by him multiple times. It's just, it's sad to see him go, but it's also amazing what he has established, the legacy he has in competitive Heroes of the Storm.
Him and Bakery as well, right? He's somebody that you
Bakery was a peer I looked up to Mary Day. Bakery is Freelo. I mean, let's be honest here.
Freelo?
Yeah, back then, all day, every day. I mean, you know, NA versus you back then, it was pretty lopsided.
He's in the back going,
he's completely disagreeing.
One of us is retired right now, the other isn't.
Got him!
But of course, MVP Black, it's a phenomenal roster that they do have available to them. They've had some, you know, blips here during the tournament, but it's still not to say that they can't rocket through this lower bracket and be able to kind of bring it back to those later series.
Much like L5, it seems like MVP is still figuring out. They seem to have been able to rely on their strengths a little bit easier, but they've also been one of the teams that they're playing heroes that we have not seen them played in the during their league season, and now all of a sudden they're starting to play them here because they admitted the European meta has influenced theirs as well.
Yeah, MVP Black, they came into the group stages saying they might not have practiced as much as they maybe should have, but since then they have stepped it up and they're looking stronger and stronger in each game, and that is going to make this an incredibly tough match for Roll20.
We, in the last series, were referring to that concept of the switch for the Korean teams and how we felt like we saw that spark coming out from L5. Yeah. Even in their best form, MVP Black has looked better this tournament than L5 throughout and throughout, but yesterday, there was no switch. Their top level of play was nowhere near what I just witnessed from L5.
Right.
So now it's, again, the same question. Can they get that execution, or are they, in fact, just don't have that lethal mentality like L5 showed?
Well, they're going to go up against a challenger here, as a lot of people see them as the underdog in this series. Let's hear from Glaurung from Roll20 to see what he thinks about the playoffs as well.
When I was younger, I was actually pretty hot-headed, but through my experience as a pro gamer, I've actually learned how to keep my cool a lot more. What keeps me level-headed in a serious match, I'd say, is remembering what's important. Like, for example, if we fall pretty far behind in game 1 of a best-of-5, in the big picture, we can drop a game, move on. So if we're like extremely far behind, sometimes it's better to not focus on the mistakes that were made in that game, but just try and set yourself up so that you're in an optimal position going into the rest of the series. So I'd say I don't really fear any team in this tournament, but the team I respect the most right now is Fnatic or MVP Black. Those two are roughly equal for me. I think both of those teams have insanely skilled players. I think for me, the difference between playing at home and playing on stage is actually massive, because when I'm at home, I'm in my comfort zone and I play pretty well, but the difference is I don't feel the same pressure that I do on stage, and I think like as an individual, I really love pressure. So playing on stage gives me that extra push to go slightly beyond my limits and just surprise myself. I love playing on stage.
Dread mentioned it very concisely, our European counterparts, saying that this could be the potential of a cult of Medivh. Aside from that, they just become a normal North American team. The question I have for you guys, and I pose for you, is they did take that game off MVP Black. They did have their Medivh Diablo. Surely they need to bring more surprises to MVP Black here when they are the underdog to try and topple the Titan.
I think they have surprises, but I want to talk about seeing is believing. And sometimes there's a lot of boundaries in life that we have to get through. And for North America and a lot of regions, it was getting past that boundary known as Korea. And sometimes seeing it once is the difference between loading up a game and thinking that you can win versus loading up a game and knowing that you can win. Seeing is believing in the sense that you know that when you come in, Glaurung will always have the confidence to instill in his team, but do those 4 other players feel it? Now that you've seen it, you can now load up and believe in yourself and your team to achieve the same results. And I think that goes beyond words and what it can mean in a competitive environment.
They know that gods can bleed. Before this tournament, an NA team saying, oh yeah, we're going to take out the Korean team, or we're going to draw with the Korean team. Everyone would look at them just a little bit weird with a single eyebrow raised.
Yeah.
But they've done it, and now they know it is possible. Like J-House said, they can do it again.
I think it's important to ask Roll20 what is their goal for this tournament, right? Because for North America, they are one of the youngest rosters that we have flat out, even though they're one of the most successful in modern day. So I can see their mentality being, we wanted to grow here. Our goal is not to rise through the ladder as far as we can. It's more aimed at learning and bettering themselves. And if that's true, I expect Roll20 to only play what they have shown already in this tournament, stick to their guns even when they're failing. But if their goal is in fact to rise as high as they possibly can, I would not doubt that the minute Medivh is removed, it is Cheese City.
Yeah, we saw them get the opportunity to play Medivh yesterday against Tempo Storm. We even saw a few other things. Chen was in the mix as well. Both of these teams have now exhibited Chen, but it feels like MVP Black is actually traumatized by Roll20 from that very first game. We saw them banning Diablo against teams on Tomb of the Spider Queen that have no trends of playing Diablo.
Yeah, you're right. It's just like it put a huge fear of the devil into MVP Black because of that setup. It is interesting because like Medivh literally says it in his talents. He cheats. He breaks the rules of Heroes of the Storm by himself, but only if he plays perfectly. The minute he makes a mistake, he's some would say a terrible hero, definitely a weaker one. And so it all comes down to flawless execution.
Don't let Medivh play chess is what Dread is saying. Because when he does, as you say, he cheats. We're going to have Battlefield of Eternity for our first map. And we have Praxis Holdout banned out. We have Cursed Hollow banned out. So Battlefield, our first map. What are we anticipating here, Jayhow?
MVP Black is world-renowned for being the best team fighting team in the world. Despite their 2 roster changes, they're still at the top of the food chain. I still, however, feel that Roll20, that's one of their best attributes, and sometimes it might be their only attribute, right? And they play a different approach. They look for picks. Think about the Zeratul. We hadn't seen Glaurung Zeratul in a while. Last night, he single-handedly knew when that opportunity was there, he could take it. I think moments like that are the ultimate X factors, and I think that if you're going up against MVP Black, you might just meet aggression with aggression and go from there.
Time to get into the draft. Game number 1 here. One of these teams is done here in the mid-season brawl as Roll20 goes up against MVP Black.
So Roll20 getting first pick on BOE, I do think is going to complement. In general, my overall tone of drafting, I do think first pick has advantages on large maps, but on small maps, I really like second pick. So much so that I think as we get farther and farther, only small maps may be selected for these teams. But either way, Roll20 now, they removed the Genji, they get the Uther, and I mean, as expected, MVP just doesn't even want to deal with Medivh.
The cult of Medivh has once again fallen down to MVP Black. The question is, what are Roll20 going to do to play around it? They already first picked the Uther, which is a spectacular first pick, and something that you really benefit from when you have a hero that's so important to ban like Medivh. You can really get some good heroes off the banned phase.
Uther's kind of that Anubarak protection, right? Anubarak has 2 stuns in his arsenal. It's not bulletproof, but it gives you that, all right, we go in and we get stunned, maybe we throw the wave out, maybe we throw our Q out, and you prevent some damage. It's kind of like, it enables a lot of heroes, but it also gives you protection. Uther right now, just such a strong hero.
I want to hate a rotation from Roll20 here of something like the Greymane and a Dahaka focus a bit onto the macro. When Roll20 is at their best in North America and against North America, it is with a macro hero, heavy focus onto that. That is when they can seem to be the most manipulative, especially with like a Dahaka Zeratul on BOE is something they've done in the past. So I'm torn on the lack of Greymane because of the race potential, but I can see where Roll20 is headed with this draft. Is definitely sticking to what they know.
Does Zeratul make it through either the ban phase or the next rotation by MVP Black? I just, Kyocha, Glaurung, I feel that in a best of 5, Zeratul will have heavy contention at some point, and even on Battlefield of Eternity, I think it's extremely possible for both these teams, as well as what would have not been known in North America until recently, the potential Abathur pick.
I think it's in MVP Black's best interest to ban, or excuse me, Roll20's best interest to ban it. I think if Roll20 gets it, it will be a little bit of, I don't know, actually. Now that I think about it, Roll20's strongest when they're given their comforts. They play their certain picks so very, very well. But I also think that MVP Black, if they deny that, it is a nice response to the Dahaka. And with the execution MVP Black has, it could be a huge power play. But they go for it. They are not going to let Roll20 have that Zeratul Dahaka.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
No, they're really focusing onto Glaurung here, trying to work down his options, whereas Roll20 banning out the Tassadar. There are several heroes that work with this, Valor especially, who slipped through the draft up to this point. Even Tracer, like we saw, both teams actually, as we found out yesterday in the All-Stars game, can play her very well, where Glau actually almost cleaned up with that.
Yeah, Glaurung actually is one of the best Tracers in the entire North American region, even though it hasn't been one of the go-tos currently for him. In the past, it was one of his most dominant heroes, and it's always been there for Kyocha on the side of MVP Black. So I like the Tassadar removal. It doesn't make Tracer unpickable, but definitely far less incentivized.
I think one thing that we'll see for Roll20, their last 2 picks are going to be heavily dependent on what MVP Black goes with. If we potentially see the Vala Ariel, Vala Tass, Tassadar was banned. So Greymane Tyrael is going to be that dive composition, which now takes away the Greymane potential for Glaurung. So do we start to see something like an Illidan? I personally am not a huge fan of Illidan in the composition that they're running, but we have to start looking at heroes that he will run. With Genji, Zeratul, it's going to be Cassia.
And Varian coming in. So that second tank with the Varian here, and Cassia should be quite effective against Greymane. We've seen very little Cassia throughout the tournament, though.
Yeah, we have not seen too much Cassia, though. She is considered a hyper carry. Her damage is high in most optimal situations. It's almost unrivaled, but it's also hard to find those circumstances where she can be at the top of her game. She's usually better as a counter pick than a blind open pick. I mean, no pun intended. Sorry about that one. But either way, the variant pickup does make me concerned here for Team 8, or excuse me, Roll20.
The Falstad seems to have snuck in towards the end there, but I think it has a nice place because Genji's gone, because Zeratul's not there. So many factors to actually allow this Falstad to work.
It's going to be really difficult to get onto him. I mean, Cassia and Li Ming, they'll be on the back line. They'll dive when appropriate. We have 2 E abilities, Offend and a potential Calamity at 7, and you got to think that they're going to be comboing off of that Varian post 10, and they're going to be looking for their blow-ups. So, you know, Malfurion does not have that burst healing, but a Mighty Gust is a quick answer to that.
We still also have the Cocoon available for MVP, which could be a serious problem. If they can Cocoon Uther and Li Ming is not on point with that Disintegrate to destroy it as quick as possible, then the blow-up potential is crazy here. Even without Hinterland, Falstad can get some serious work done.
Time for predictions.
I really like the style of MVP Black. I think they've got a strong Immortal race and they've got some good poke potential and a crazy engage. I'm leaning to MVP Black.
MVP Black's map, MVP Black's draft, MVP is my pick.
Okay.
I am going to go purely off my heart for at least one game. If Roll20 can win a game, it will be the very first and it will be with what they want, and I think they managed to get that at least close to it. So I'm putting my heart out there. I know it's probably not going to work out, but it's Roll20.
All right, that's a bold prediction here from Dread. Let's see what chat thinks as well, as the hashtags have been flying in left and right. And that is, you got 4%.
Me and chat have never been on a different page so far today. Every game, me and chat got it.
That's worrying. No?
It is, because chat's in last place. Chat is literally equal in the world of analysis right now with Dread.
Apparently so. All right, well, thank you very much, gents. Check in with you throughout this series. For now, let's head over to our commentary team. Will MVP Black be triumphant, or will this be catastrophic?
Korea versus North America with MVP Black versus Roll20 on a battleground that both of them love. What do you think of the draft, Scrubby?
Yeah, I am with the analyst here. I think MVP Black is looking pretty good, but if there's any map that Roll20 is going to be opening it up on, it's going to be this first one here on Battlefield of Eternity. Let's see if Roll20 can get those single target blow-ups.
Here in the blue, the members of MVP Black with Tist playing a new Barak, Maryday playing Malfurion, Kyocha playing Tyrael, Reset on Greymane, and Sake playing Falstad.
And on the right side, hailing from North America, it's going to be Roll20. And it's going to be Butts on Uther, Yoda on Li Ming, Glaurung on Dahaka, Prismaticism on Cassia, and Justing on Varian.
L5 made it through their last match. Can MVP Black match them, or will they be the first Korean team to fall? Roll20 has all of North America's hopes on their shoulders right now, but MVP Black is such a formidable opponent.
Let's see if Roll20 can do it. It would definitely be the upset of today if Roll20 was able to topple MVP Black here. Dignitas did it yesterday in a 3-1 score, but they looked formidable, flexible, and dominant in team fights and in draft. Roll20 has a tall order, but it's been their best tournament to date. So let's see if they can do it.
It has. Roll20 have played very stable throughout all of the mid-season brawl, even taking one game off of MVP Black, but that was at the beginning of the tournament. And MVP Black just happened to be the first opponent that got to see what Roll20 can do with their Diablo Medivh combo.
Gilly, imagine if Roll20 outperforms their first game against MVP Black. 22 takedowns to 0. Maybe this time they'll do 30 to 0. Of course, that one is going to be hard to supersede, but let's see. Let's see how it goes.
It is a battleground where there can be a lot of brawls, which is what we're waiting for now with both of these teams. Once we get into the center area, Immortals will be spawning very soon. What do you think of the Cassia pick from Roll20?
It's interesting. You know, Cassia, it is definitely, she's like a fish in the water here. She hard counters Greymane. She's pretty okay against Falstad. She's perfect against the Nubarak in terms of damage type at least, but it's really going to be up to Uther to protect Cassia when she is most vulnerable. She's got 65 physical armor against auto attacks anytime she's moving around. So Prismaticism is going to have to be fast on his feet. But Nubarak locks him down, and that's where Uther's Guardian of the Ancient Kings comes in, the level 7 talent. So between Uther and Cassia, she should be unkillable. But the big problem here is Li Ming. Her damage type is not ideal against Black.
No, she'll be up against a Nubarak. We know that that is not a favorable matchup, but she is great in being able to poke down Immortals. And speaking of poking someone down, Roll20 claims first blood.
First blood to Roll20 here as Tist overextends on Nubarak here a little bit. Roll20 is nonetheless a little bit down in the Immortal damage. They play that style that they love here so much, Gilly, where they defend the Immortal, they try to get advantages in the lane through XP and through takedowns. And now finally they're starting to be more aggressive against that Immortal.
And that's why that pick from MVP Black was so important to get Falstad, because MVP Black like doing that as well whenever they have Sake on Falstad. So much so that Sake has sort of become the main solo laner for the team, but now fight's happening, drag comes in, so far Tist has stayed alive, but just barely.
Huge dodge there by Glarung, actually kind of hilarious. He was trying to burrow out of the Immortal fight to the top lane to continue the plan, but he actually stayed here and it worked out because MVP Black did a big aggressive move here into Roll20.
Well, we've got Greymane on the Immortal, but the zoning from MVP Black is impeccable, pushing away all the members of Roll20 who have been low, and it takes a little while for Uther to heal them back up, which is why MVP Black have been able to kind of get ahead, but now Roll20 is pushing forward. They know they have a good damage comp for this. Can they get the Immortal in time? Can they do it without losing anybody too? It looks like it.
Yeah, so far they are. They're getting the Immortal, and let's see who they lose. That's one down here in Variant. That's kind of okay, because not only do you win an Immortal, you also don't have to face it. And Roll20, they needed to make a move. But they were funneling in through a death trap. And Nubarak was so ready to hit the burrow charges, the impales, and in the meantime, the Greymane damage pressure on the other Immortal, but they made it.
That was a lovely drag, too, by Glarung to pull a Nubarak away so that they didn't have both warriors charging on forward trying to get the Li Ming kill. So Roll20 get the first Immortal. They only lose one. They're feeling pretty good about this. They're going to be able to take down some towers before MVP Black clears this up.
And that's pretty much what you can get from a low Immortal with not so many shields, and also when you lose a hero in the process. You really need to downward scale your expectations when you sacrifice heroes to get that objective. And I think Roll20 did that really well. They stayed just about as long as they could to get value out of it. They almost got 2 towers and will be able to finish that off really quickly. Now the big question is, Gilly, level 7 hits. Will Roll20 use this very small window? And it looks like they do want to fight right here. They get level 7. They get the kill.
And they just go. They take out Malfurion. They steal a camp. Glarung brush stalked up in order to get that kill. So this is some time where Sake is getting the soak for free on bottom. But amazing job by Roll20 to be able to get a small lead in this Battlefield of Eternity game. We know that small leads on Battlefield of Eternity can turn into big leads really quickly.
Exactly, because it's such a small map, Gilly. Anytime you have that talent lead, you've got a small window. But because it's so small, it's very easy to find a way to leverage that advantage. And the really cool thing about this one, about what Roll20 did, even as Glaring takes a lot of hit and he will go down, nice job by MVP Black. But the cool thing is, Roll20 moved in 3 seconds before they hit level 7, making it all the more surprising.
They did lose to Haka in the top. This makes Varian come up, and MVP Black is continuing to put the pressure on this top fort. Impale throws up Varian. Justin's getting in trouble, gets blown up from MVP Black. He was all by himself.
Very well done here by MVP Black. They attack Varian, and he gets to protected status, right? But what not everyone knows, and of course pros do, but they don't always do it right, when protected status is up, do not auto-attack Varian. It gives him more charges of protect, and that is why Justin died here. He only had about 2 protected in a row. If you attack him non-stop, he will have 8 seconds of protected out of 9 seconds, just because he keeps getting resets and resets. Black didn't give it to him, so Justin went down.
Yeah, and that's all the more difficult with Live by the Sword's change, where it used to only take 2 auto attacks to be able to reduce that. Now it takes the 4. So very well done from MVP Black. Those 2 kills got them ahead once again in experience. The Roll20 is trying to collapse on Sake. Sake's buying enough time and eventually will be able to fly out. And during that time, MVP Black were hoping to use it in a way that they could get some immortal damage done, but the immortal health is really close. It's that level 10 that is now the problem.
Yeah, and this is an impending doom hanging over the heads of Roll20. The foreseeable future, the best ambition for Roll20 here would be to give half a life of immortal and use that time to get 1 mercenary camp, full lane soak, maybe a tower, and then they can try to get level 10 by the time their immortal is at 50%. And so far they seem to be doing it. And in fact, Black is a little bit slow about getting that immortal down to 50%. They are not really pressuring Roll20 to the degree where that level 10 gap becomes a glaring issue. 50% hits and level 10 is on the horizon. Soon Roll20 will be trying to make their move.
Yeah, if they keep Dahaka in lane and slowly start to move forward, oh, nice. It is even defensive positioning, so they can hope that they start to poke down some of the members. Justin's going to go in, and they're just waiting for Dahaka to get them 10. But Tist is not waiting for that time, using Cocoon, Twilight Dream, follow-up too.
And just a second before level 10 is reached, now all the heroics have been picked. The turnaround, Tyrio goes down, and Nubarak gets dragged. Glaring with the flank. 2 takedowns for Roll20. They protect their immortal when it is so low, and they do the turnaround.
That's such a smooth move from Roll20, showing their initiative here in game number 1 versus MVP Black. We're going to take a look at that one again. The Twilight Dream and Cocoon look so good, but Roll20 were able to back off, and immediately upon getting 10, Roll20 looked to get that taunt, and turnaround was immediate.
And you know what was so impressive? The speed with which Justin took his level 10, it was literally less than a second from the moment that he got level 10 to the Twilight Dream hitting. The taunt gives him a bonus armor, it gives him a bonus 60% or 50% health, and that's why he was even able to survive throughout all that and be useful in the aftermath.
Yeah, I know you love getting to see when players do that.
Yeah.
Immediately selecting their heroic ability upon hitting 10, and it was clutch from Roll20 to get that turnaround, so much so that even though they were far behind in Immortal health, they've been able to win the Immortal in this phase.
Very much so, and they're using that now, but a bit of a mighty gust there. No follow-up, though. Keep in mind, this is a judgment game. There we go. Thanks for showing that. Big move here on Cassia, and the miss on the Divine Shield.
Oh, but the Ball Lightning has taken out Malfurion, so it's a 1-for-1 and taking out the support and Sake. Now they're looking to see if they can get more resets for Yoda. They do. More stuns, 3 kills.
Roll20 with the turnaround after the self-Divine Shield cast by Buds. Nonetheless, they find their targets. They squeeze the last bit of toothpaste out of that tube, and Yoda takes down Falstad, and the turnaround once again on Nubarak here on Tist.
Roll20 has got to be feeling good right now that they are ahead of MVP Black. They were able to take down a fort, so they're tied in structures. They've won Immortals, and they're winning the experience race so far. But versus a Korean team as good as MVP Black, you have to continue to make those perfect plays.
Exactly. So glad you're pointing that out. Rewind half a year ago, and the Korean teams seemed indomitable for a long period, and presumably for a long period to come. Now, the illusion has been shattered. They can lose games. We've seen it several times. Roll20 was the first delivery of such a stinging loss here in this tournament, in the group stage, winning their opening match against MVP Black. And now the teams believe, but this is still MVP Black.
Yes.
You need to keep playing with that kind of level. And the lead is actually, there is almost no lead. What Roll20 is doing here is they're winning fights, but in controlling the map, Black has been playing amazingly, and so we're pretty much in a dead even situation.
Yeah, Roll20 can never feel like they're completely ahead, fully ahead of their opponents, but they are at least carrying that momentum forward with every fight that they make. They're not afraid to fight versus a team of team fighters like MVP Black, and that is really awesome to see from Roll20 in this event.
Yeah. Big responsibility, though, rests on Buds here on the Uther. Once Judgment Twilight Dream comes out, that is going to be a lot of pressure to keep his team alive. In the previous fight, crucially, Twilight Dream was on a 5-second cooldown, but we have yet to witness the full power of the isolation tactic of Twilight Dream, Cocoon, Gust, and Judgment. So let's see what happens when the next fight breaks out. This will be the greatest challenge Roll20 faces yet in the team fight. That's coming up right here.
Dahaka stalked in, but roots were placed down. It was a little late to catch him, but importantly, MVP Black did not get caught from that. Now the Judgment counter. Divine Shield immediately a follow-up. Taunt hits, they're trying to pull in Tyrael, and they get him.
Wow, perfectly handled here by Roll20 with the Divine Shield and Prismaticism. He does get taken out. It's a 1-for-1. Dahaka lives. The adaptation procs the turnaround on the Nubarak.
Yoda is playing out of his mind right now, took down the Cocoon too. Taunt hits reset, and he is running for his life, but he turns around, throws out a cocktail, and takes down Dahaka.
Big damage there by Sake. Perfect aim by Yoda with the B-step.
Sake barrel rolls away, but still hoping to chase him down. They are going to hopefully get this kill. He's trying to fly out. Oh, just barely gets it.
Roll20 really likes Sake, but they shall not be partaking of this particular beverage right now as MVP Black hightails it out of there with that foul stat there. Sake gets away. But still, you know, Roll20, they're getting back their members slightly faster. They've got quite an Immortal to burn through, though.
Yeah, they do. It's almost halfway for MVP Black. Roll20 get here slightly faster. MVP Black going to defend, but put 1 on the Immortal so far. Reset, I'll be back too, and he'll be able to help take that down so much faster. But Roll20 keeping up with MVP Black in experience. MVP Black forces halfway.
Yeah. Roll20, a bit of a waste time maneuver there, a kind of half-hearted attempt at attacking, being dissuaded to do so in a 4 versus 2, ironically. They felt a lot of implied power there by MVP Black. They're wondering, how many people are you hiding in the bushes? And so they do waste a little bit of time. Advantage of experience on the side of Roll20, and they're trying to leverage it with the Haka double soak. He just tunneled to the top. And that's Roll20's game plan here. They want to apply a little bit of pressure, make sure to aggressively defend their Immortal to stop more poke damage, get level 16, and then flip the switch.
Knowing that Roll20 are playing defensively allows Sake to take down the fort in the bottom, and that gives MVP Black the jump and experience needed along with this tower to get closer and closer to 16 talents, where they will feel ready to fight Roll20 once again and try to get this Immortal so that they can take down keep structures from Roll20.
Yeah, very nice catch-up mechanic here by MVP Black, having that fort there, that pocket experience. And so level 16 is reached simultaneously. Situation didn't get any better for Roll20, and MVP Black has been doing a great job doing whatever little poke damage they can on the Immortal. Kyocha with big threats there. Every sword that he throws is a potential holy ground now. Not going for the blood for blood route with Judgment like the Chinese teams have been favoring. E-Star.
Taunt hits Meride. Still has an ice block if needed, but it wasn't needed there. Team doing a great job of zoning away from Meride. And it did pull in Varian quite far into the fight. Curse Bullet was used. It's a shorter cooldown. Taunt as well.
Yeah, 15 seconds left on that Cursed Bullet. Of course, if Justin is fast with his shield wall or feels it coming, he can prevent that. But pretty much Cursed Bullet is back. And there's a lot of threat inherent behind the team fight of both teams. Roll20 has been winning them, and at the same time, they're afraid of losing it. Justin now going in. This could be it.
Taunt once again, but it brings Varian far in. There's the Judgment hitting Cassia, and Tist is quick to follow up. Divine Shield used. Asake is in the back line too, and he may be able to get caught by Roll20, but no, they have other plans.
So Judgment has been used, so has Mighty Gust, so has Cocoon, and pretty much only Divine Shield was traded for it, and Bolt Lightning. So there's a lot of survivability still on the side of Roll20, and they feel confident to move onwards as the isolation techniques have been used, and their team fight is too strong. Big move here on Kyocha, getting the taunt off.
Reset, Tist to reset is really low. Twilight Dream comes in from Meriday, hits a lot of the members of Roll20, but Yoda feels confident he can start to get resets. But no, Kyocha goes in and takes out 2 from Roll20 in a heartbeat.
Yoda with a crucial misjudgment there, going with the Disintegrate finishing move on the Nubarak, who still had Burrow Charge, exposed himself in that self-root of the Disintegrate. He got taken out, and that really spiraled things out of control. MVP Black with the 4 for 2.
Glaurung is the sole survivor of that fight, and that's quite long respawn timers, Grubby.
Yeah, a little bit of waste of time there on Glaurung chasing him out, but this is the moment where Yoda sees a low Nubarak in a crucial error there, which gets the double kill on both him and Varian, who was trying to peel for him. And then finally the explosion on Uther and on Cassia as well. Great fight for MVP Black. They didn't have their heroics, but they definitely baited out that Li Ming to chase him. And now, big lead for MVP Black. Huge wave at the top. And then the Immortal with 40% of a shield.
Yeah, and the shielding from Burrow Charge, from Subterranean Shield, was just enough to help Nubarak Tist survive Li Ming, hoping to be able to get the resets to start winning the fight from there. It's a very volatile situation. Either Li Ming gets the resets and just starts taking out your teammates one by one, and MVP Black know that. MVP Black play Li Ming all the time, so they're very understanding of how much they can pressure a Li Ming and how much they can hope to lock her down in position while she's using the Disintegrate.
Big protection there by Prismaticism with that Uther armor. Immortals down to 80%. This keep is probably a foregone conclusion to going down.
Holy Ground gets Yoda away from the fight. Cocoon's been used, but busts out Glaurung quite quickly.
That's a 5 versus 4 for now, and MVP Black is happy with this, as Falstad is basically killing the bottom keep by himself, bringing it to 50%. The Immortal, meantime, has been taken out. It will kill that keep, but in the meantime, Sake is not letting up.
Now, Roll20 are hoping they can get down there and take him down, but all the members of MVP Black are stopping that. Judgment used, as has Drag. Tist gets pulled in, but staying alive. One more drag, gets the kill. Taunt behind Twilight Dream too, but Meriday may be the next to be in trouble. Throws out a zoning roots that is perfect.
Now, that was the absolute minimum for Roll20. One takedown is not worth what just happened. The second will help, but still, that looks cool and flashy, right? Meantime, Sake killed the keep. He was not even driven out. Roll20 threw everything on the pre-Immortal Death defense, and they sacrifice bottom lane willingly to do so. So now Roll20 gets to that situation where 2 lanes are being pushed with catapults, and they are down a level and a Storm tier talent. However, you win one fight at 20 versus 20, you can still come back. The thing is though, MVP Black doesn't need to give them this fight.
No, that's the really awesome thing. We've seen this before too with L5 when they played the global composition versus Team Dignitas. Dig were able to withstand all of that tension, that stress on their lanes brought in by the double catapults, but it is so difficult to do so. We'll see if Roll20 has what it takes to stop. They have to win a very decisive team fight and move quickly.
Yeah, well, the power spikes are definitely there. Varian at level 20 is absolutely bonkers. That banner that he throws down that gives extra armor, he can throw that down every 25 seconds instead of every 45, and it enhances healing effects if he takes that.
Yes, glory to the Alliance.
Yep.
Also, Thunder God's Vigor is extremely good, or Titan's Revenge is the name of it.
Yeah, 2 bonus range, ignoring armor. That's incredible. Of course, I don't think there's any armor effects on the MVP Black that block physical, but still, that 2 extra range is huge.
Well, with Greymane in Worgen form, be able to ignore that.
That's true, that's true. Greymane will be a little bit more killable.
And that may be the switch on target if Roll20 can find him.
Prismaticism there, locked in a Holy Ground, but he is pretty okay. Ball Lightning got used. Roll20 though, Falstad on the core, Siege Giants on the core. And so Roll20, they have to send someone back, but they're not. They're going to lose their core if they stay here. And Black knows this. They're engaging to buy time.
Yeah, they're just trying to keep all the members of Roll20 here while Sake's there, but Glaurung is able to walk back. Judgment catches. They've got Twilight Dream too. Cassia's already gone. MVP Black hoping they can get the fight to win the game.
Yeah, beautiful Twilight Dream there, blocking any healing that could be coming out from Uther. But Daka's here, the double kill!
2 kills. The core still staying strong, having shielding. Buds is all but dead, but this is Uther. Now he gives heals to the team. It's a 2 for 2, and Uther will be back with redemption.
Reset. Can Glaurung get the drag tongue? Yes, he does. Reset. He gets away.
Justing's on the chase.
Falstad on the core again. Sake has been the most amazing split pusher this game. He gets the core to 91%. Greymane goes down. Falstad goes down as well.
All right, what do Roll20 do right here, right now? They have 4 members down. It's only a Nubarak.
Go for the core.
Yeah.
You've got a Fallen Bruiser on the top keep. You're in a 4 versus 1 situation. A Nubarak is defending. The Haka depushed a little bit more, and then he comes to the top. Who can defend? It's Tyrael, 18 seconds, and then a Nubarak.
And Tiz isn't even hoping that he can get a backdoor and try to go against it. He gets taunted. Tiz just might go down. He burrow charges away, but he is so low. Roll20 trying to take down a keep and hope they can win game number 1.
That's about as well done by Tiz of a time-buying mechanic as can be possible. Benediction, all the abilities, no damage on the keep, burrow charges out, gets a 3-man impale. And so Roll20, they lose their cool. They go back. They know Bolt of the Storm, Twilight Dream is too big of a threat. Now, this is a good job. They still have the Haka. They can continue to split push defend. They got equal levels finally. They have priority on the Immortal. And so, very good call to pull back here after that keep. But great job by Tiz, really.
And 50% of the catapult pressure is negated now because Roll20 took out that keep. But in that time, they only got a little bit of damage done to the Immortal. So we're right back into this fight in the mid. It's anyone's game.
Yeah, and Yoda needs to mind his positioning. Took a big Gilnean cocktail to the face, and so he has to be careful. There's a lot of flanking going on here by MVP Black. And keep in mind, anytime that MVP Black wants to, if they get position on the core, they can just go for the core, gust away the defending team once, and try to get a core kill as such. It's neither here nor there yet, but it's a possibility for the future.
It's seen that Falstad is heading there, and it's Dahaka's charge to go back and stop Sake from doing just that, which pulls back the rest of Roll20 just slightly. Yoda is throwing out what abilities he can, and that does get the halfway point to the Immortal, so there is some time now.
Very good job by Roll20. Want to point out a cool thing Glaurung did, by the way. He actually heartstoned from a bush, so when he came out of the fountain, he's still at 5 seconds of movement speed. Allowed him to pose a bit more of a threat to Falstad.
Roll20, Glaurung's in, they're going for the fight. Hoping they can get...
Kyocha! He gets away, but a lot of pressure on him. Prismaticism is still alive, Divine Shield is still available. This is an awesome fight for Roll20.
The ball lightning bouncing back and forth, but it is done now. Roll20 at least forced back MVP Black, but they don't get any kills, and Glaurung immediately has to go back and stop Sake. Sake has been so frustrating to Roll20 this game.
This reminds me a lot of a particular other game between Team Dignitas and L5, where 2 keeps go down, and there keeps being a split push attempt that's not working out. Divine Shield only being as huge. Great job by Butts. Now to turn around. Yoda! Yoda lives!
Day's down! Yoda lives! All of the members of Roll20 live! Here comes the Archangel's Wrath, nearly claims the life of Roll20's Prismaticism, but he stays alive, and now MVP Black, knowing that they lost both Malfurion and Tyrael, are just going straight for a core rush.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of the other game. Roll20, they kill Greymane. There's 2 members left, and this is the most epic time-buying attempt that I've ever seen. They know they lose 1 more person on the core, but they send Roll20 collectively to the right side. This is so smart by MVP Black. They know it's their best chance. However, Gilly, huge favor here for Roll20.
Yes, there is a nearly 100% shielded Immortal about to push down the bottom lane. There is a 4, that buys some time. There is a keep, that buys some more time too.
So Roll20 has a very easy objective. Let this bad boy do his thing, kill the fort and the keep. They can threaten top, but no matter what, they must defend. So expect to see Roll20 be very vigilant of the potential counterattack. They're going to count heroes here. They see Falstad, a Nubarak. Okay, they need to see 1 more, and then they can commit to the attack. And they see it. They see 3 defenders. So Dahaka will get a little bit more info top and then burrow in from that bottom left push there under Tyrael. And I don't think it should take too long. Visual has been confirmed on the members of MVP Black. And this Immortal won't win the game unless they're all there. Great choice. Glarung is here and the heat is on.
All 5 members of Roll20 present for this Immortal push. Shields nearly down. And that allows the Immortal to move into melee range and MVP Black to clear it up a little bit easier. Roll20 steps in. Glarung hoping for a drag. A taunt catches a new Barak.
Glarung and Justin take a lot of damage. The max range drag tongue on Greymane there into Mighty Gust. The keeps have been equalized. And Roll20 says, that's it. We do not dare to do any more. And they fall back.
Gust was used there, but the Immortal got taken out really quickly from MVP Black to stay alive. So now no keeps left.
Yeah, Cleanse has been used and Gust in that defense. Instead of Roll20 going full ham, they couldn't really because the Haka and Varian dropped to 30% life. So they instead tried to go on the isolation. 2 1-minute cooldowns were used, but Roll20 did not think that's enough to commit to a full 5v5, basically with defender's advantage, because there's going to be healing fountain and so on and so forth. So Roll20, they are playing with a level of confidence. We've seen teams that cannot believe that they're beating the favorite team and they'll commit to stupid fights, but Roll20 is playing with discipline here. They are happy to equalize the map. And they said, okay, we'll go back. We can win fights. We're 21 versus 12 takedowns. That makes them the 66% upper dog in the next team fight, by statistics anyway.
Gilnean Roulette chosen.
Yeah, I've seen Snitch take the same thing by Team Dignitas. You get the 5-second CDR per enemy hero hit. You can hit more enemy heroes, but even if you hit only one, at least you make sure it's up practically all the time, every little skirmish and team fight.
Yeah, that could change a lot in the team fights based on if they can bring down a warrior in that way. Because so far, the front line of Roll20 has stayed really strong between adaptation, Dahaka, all of his essence too, and then even having Varian and his parries for days.
Yeah, exactly. The only one that I don't really like is Tyrael's Angel of Justice.
No?
CDR on Judgment, extra range, it's pretty cool, but Hardened Shield could be quite useful. His value with Holy Ground is really strong, but we've seen teams take this, very possible to want to have that CDR up all the time as well. Now, next Immortal phase. This is definitely going to end the game. Whoever wins this Immortal, it's GG. So it's just too strong. There's no more fortifications unless you get a full team wipe as you give up that Immortal. But this is pretty much everything coming to a head here, Gilly.
That was a really short fly from Sake just to get away from Glarung.
Yeah.
He's in hiding right now, but was heading back. This is such a tense moment. We are 28 minutes into Battlefield of Eternity.
Yeah. This is just incredible. North America going toe-and-toe. Their Angel of Justice on Li Ming. She teleports away, baits in Kyocha further. And that's one cooldown down.
It is the shortened cooldown because of Angel of Justice, so he'll have that up really soon.
Cursed Bullet used and missed. So Roll20 is getting advantage after advantage.
Can they take advantage of it, though? They're looking to see if there's anybody in range that they can taunt. But so far, everyone from MVP Black looks impenetrable to them.
Yeah, MVP Black is doing a great job of poking damage here. They understand their composition will get better and better as long as they can get more boomerangs or more Gilnean cocktails off. And they're doing a fantastic job of doing so. They want to exploit the fact that Uther doesn't have 5-second heal cooldowns. And they want to make sure everyone's low. But here we go. Big charge in on Tyrael.
Ball Lightning 2, Kyocha turns around and uses Judgment, forcing Divine Shield. That is a huge cooldown that Roll20 has now used in this fight, and it makes them want to try to get advantage out of that somehow. Happens to be that they're forcing all of MVP Black back momentarily, and this gives halfway of the Immortal a big advantage.
Yeah, I do understand Angel of Justice now. That, just using it over and over just to bait out Cleanse, then Divine Shield, is it's really good. So I definitely get it now. I'm a believer. In the meantime, Roll20 did rout them for a second, like you said. They get a bit of extra damage on the Immortal, and at this point, it came to a good place for Roll20, to be honest.
Yeah, it really did. There's a new Barak, there's Kyocha, and there's Meriday trying to defend this Immortal. All of Roll20 steps in. Glarung's here too. Gets a drag, pulls in a new Barak, has to burrow out of the Immortal stun.
Cocoon, no disintegrate available. That's a nice Cocoon timing.
Sake is flown into the back. Yoda's almost down, teleports away from Tist, but it's Greymane who's taken out.
Dominance value. Yoda gets his life back. Mighty Gust in panic. MVP Black is getting disintegrated here, no pun intended, by Roll20 esports. Immortal goes down. Roll20 only has one objective. Do not die.
They're getting resets, but that is a really big Tyrael explosion about to go down. The Twilight Dream got a lot of value, but no kills. 2 people are out, a full minute before Tyrael's back.
Well, Uther, he goes down, but he's got redemption again. Roll20 has basically done it in the most extended death animation of today. I do believe that MVP Black has been defeated once again here in that first map by Roll20. That Immortal is unstoppable. It's a 5 versus 3. Unless MVP Black can raise the core faster, it's a done deal, Gilly.
Yeah, all of Roll20 just had to make sure that MVP Black didn't take their last-ditch effort, their Hail Mary, and now they don't have Falstad. Roll20 esports have done it in a 31-minute game on Battlefield of Eternity. They once again defeat MVP Black in game number 1.
Wow!
There was a lot of patience from both teams, but I loved seeing the patience of Roll20 constantly babysitting their core.
Yeah, it was just incredible. It really is one of the maps with the greatest comeback mechanics, and they just played it amazingly. Glaurung going back, defeating Falstad on his own home turf there, and always keeping their core alive. Very, very impressive. And I don't do this a lot, but I just want to name a damage number here.
Yes.
Cassia, 160,000 hero damage. Next biggest was Greymane with 124,000. Incredible. I didn't think that Prismaticism had it in him. He plays a lot of melee, he plays some range, but I haven't seen him on Cassia a whole lot.
Yeah, he played her just a few times in HGC, so it was hard to tell if they would actually bring her out or if it was more just testing the waters with her at HGC, how strong she really was. But in this instance,
they just won the MVP Black Challenge, winning the opening match against them for the 2nd time at this tournament. Absolutely incredible, and I'm looking very forward to see what our analyst panel has to say about that.
So am I, Grubby, because for me, I was blown away by how well Roll20 was able to play that. I said it as Dre was just coming up here. For me, that was the best map we have seen North America play on an international stage in so long.
I think I completely agree. I mean, Roll20, it felt like they were like playing out of their minds that entire series. You know, they were behind, but they never let that get to them mentally. I feel like the series is still a big task for them, but that game specifically was huge for NA.
It's exactly what I wanted them to do. I said that MVP Black is known as the best team fighting team, but it's also Roll20's best attribute. At the end of the game, Roll20 had 24 kills. 24 against MVP Black. If you take a 2-game pool, that's 46 after that 22-0.
I think one thing that's very important that does stand out here, Tetra, though, is that it shows that Roll20 can go toe-to-toe with MVP Black without having Medivh Diablo, which is a big statement coming into the rest of the series.
Yes, and that is the confusion from MVP Black about whether it's worth banning those heroes, whether it's even going to be even worse against those, or whether they have to go back to more standard drafting stuff.
Dread, it's all you.
Dude, I have the replay of what feels like this. It is amazing. All right, so pause right now. I just want to set the foreground. So we already know that we have Dahaka has displayed, oh, wrong color there, but displayed himself onto the minimap. So MVP Black's first thought process is here. We have the Falstad having the opportunity to be able to move down on the minimap. Dahaka's nowhere to be found. This is where we want to start a fight. So we're going to move forward, and they look to make a very beautiful initiation. But now, in a couple of seconds here, we're going to slow down and then pause. So what was done, if we can pause here and roll back a little bit more, what is done is a beautiful initiation. So here it is. So Glaurung actually found himself burrowing down. Oh man, wrong color again. I'm terrible at this video game. Well, he burrows down, he goes in, and he looks to be able to get a drag onto Merryday. Merryday had dropped an ice block to make sure that he survived right as Varian went in for his taunt. Li Ming tried to get a lot of damage. She received a judgment that moved on to her up here. So now Yoda has found himself nearly dead. This, as we move forward slowly, is going to cause a Divine Shield, teleport over the wall so no one can see him, but Merryday has way too much pressure down here. Now, once he falls dead, he's moving down, he's looking to get a flank on to Li Ming. Look to get the pick and nail this kill, but watch what happens. Barrel roll in if we pause right now. Look at how much damage is going to hit Yoda. He is begging for dominance to proc. Otherwise, this is Yoda dead. If he does not survive this, they lose this fight. So now moving forward, Merryday barely dies. As the last tick of damage comes in, he gets the reset, he teleports away, and as we move forward, that is what starts the beginning of the end of this fight. Now we see Sake completely in a terrible position. Drag ends up landing there, end up getting a secondary kill. Now we're gonna move back to, or forward into where MVP Black panics. They go for the core.
Yep.
They not only do they go for the core at this moment, but they go for it in the worst way possible. There's no way they can end this game whatsoever, but they're trying to draw them back. So look at Reset. He just doesn't even wait. There's no hesitation. He legitimately just all into a core. Li Ming is begging to defend against this style, and that was the thing that allowed MVP Black to, they lost all momentum after that fight. And it was all off of legitimately one auto attack worth of damage, and MVP wins that fight and the game right there.
It's becoming a common trend of recoveries on Battlefield of Eternity, isn't it?
Western teams versus Korean teams. It's, yeah.
Keep in mind, that was MVP Black's map choice on what is arguably one of their not just best maps, but most dominant maps.
Yeah.
But it is also Roll20s, and I want to get that across because though this was an amazing game, and I don't want to take anything from it, we also have to remember that Roll20 felt insanely comfortable, not only in picks, but also in the map. So if MVP wants to move to any less comfortable of an area when it comes to the map pool of Roll20, I don't know if they'll hold up as good of a fight.
It felt like in a lot of those engagements, Cassia forced so much of a commitment out from MVP Black to try and deal with it, that while they were doing that, there was not much dealing with everybody else on the side of Roll20 who got free reign to do exactly what they wanted.
They put a lot of emphasis onto either Cassia or onto the Li Ming. A lot of it was like, can we bait the D shield onto Cassia, hyper-focus onto the Li Ming after, and that is why I want to give a lot of credit to that game onto Yoda. He played out of his mind to keep himself alive. Yes, that last play, you could argue maybe a little bit of a miracle, a little bit of luck, but the whole time they were focusing him and he kept himself alive.
All right, time to go to Infernal Shrines for game number 2 here, guys. Anything that kind of stands out as to what could come along?
It's Roll20's best map.
Yeah.
They actually just don't get this one, which is why we say BOE is their best map. It's literally always banned against them every time in North America. So now, what I thought was going to be, maybe a little bit of lack of comfort, that's not the case for game 2.